Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and today's video is all about the future of the fashion industry after COVID-19. So I'll be talking a little bit about what we can expect in the short term, but also the major impact that COVID-19 has had on the fashion industry and what that means for us in the years to come. On the surface, talking about shopping and retail, it seems like a trivial subject to be talking about. But when we look a little bit deeper, there's very few of us who aren't impacted in some way in the fashion industry, whether it's directly or indirectly. The fashion industry is also the second biggest water polluter in the world, and so that means we are all affected in some way because it affects the environment in such a dramatic way. There's no doubt that there is a shift in the world, even before COVID-19, that the world is moving towards a more sustainable approach in pretty much everything we do. In a space of 3 years, the search for sustainable fashion has tripled between 2016 and 2019. So that's a huge increase to see. I'm a big fan of this approach and that people are moving towards more sustainable fashion. And it's a big thing that I'm an advocate of. I'm by no means perfect and there's certainly room for improvement, but I do encourage my clients especially to move towards a more capsule type of wardrobe rather than kind of just buying in things that are on trend at the moment, because that's just buying into fast fashion. It comes and goes and it's not truly about personal style. So if you're watching this video, you have most likely been affected by COVID-19 in terms of being locked down somewhere. All the shops have been closed, all the facilities around you have been closed. And so you may have explored going online for shopping, maybe for the first time ever. But despite not being able to physically go to shops and really our only option is shopping online, the sales of online shopping have actually fallen between 30 and 40% in the US alone. I'd love to know if you just stopped buying altogether and you've kind of waited out this time until you can get back to the shops, or did you find yourself shopping more online? I know myself, I've certainly shopped more online than I usually would during this time because I haven't been able to go to the shops. I mean, this comes with its own set of problems as well, because if you're not happy with the item, I mean, you can't go in, you can't feel the texture of the clothes, you can't try them on. So there is an element of risk and you may end up with items that you don't like. And for a lot of people, if they don't invest a lot of money into that item, it's kind of hardly worth sending it back, which is really kind of wasteful, I guess. The other side of the coin is if you do send it back, a lot of items that you send back, they end up in landfill because it's actually more economical for these producers to just put them into landfill rather than the cost of warehousing and storing these clothes for a longer period of time. So this is the sad and shocking truth of it, and I do feel that things are changing, however. So let's first talk about what we can expect when the shops open their doors. I mean, social distancing is still a major thing in Ireland at the moment. We are required to keep 2 meters apart. If a shop opens their doors, they have to be able to prove that they can maintain this. And so that means that a lot less people are going to be able to go into shops. So you may have to wait patiently outside until you can get inside the shop and have a look around. Every shop is going to have a sanitizing station where you can sanitize your hands on the way in and on the way out, and you're most likely going to have to wear a face mask. So definitely worthwhile investing in one that is reusable. You can put in the wash, so maybe you'll have 2 or 3 on the go at the one time. I think the biggest change that we're going to see in shops is that we are most likely not going to be allowed to try things on when we're shopping. So again, we're kind of faced with that same problem where we can't try things on to make sure they're the right fit or that they suit us. So we have to go home and try on at home. Now, if you have to return your item, they're going to keep that item away from all the other clothes on the shop floor for probably 24 to 48 hours so that there's no contamination on the clothes. Some places that have the facility might steam their clothes to sanitize them that way and then put them out on the shop floor. But either way, this means that there's going to be a much slower process. There's going to be less clothes available to us, maybe less sizes available when you want them. So you might feel that actually online shopping is still the way to go until we get beyond all of this, all of these restrictions. Some beauty brands have already started to allow you to virtually try on their makeup. I think those days where we sit down with a makeup artist and they can try things on us, they're going to be gone for quite a while. It would be great to see this in terms of clothes shops. However, I don't think they're going to be able to develop this that quickly, and I still don't think it's going to give a very accurate representation of how clothes look on us, and also you don't get the feel of how they look, and that's really important too. You have to get into the clothes, you know, do the jeans test where you do a few squats in the dressing room. And obviously you can't do that when you're virtually trying on clothes. So what can you do to make this a better experience for you, to choose better, to buy better? Well, I always encourage clients to invest in getting to know their style. So what colors suit them, what shapes suit them, what fabrics suit them, discover what your style personality is. This is absolutely a must if you're going to be shopping online. This is available virtually, so I now work with people nationally and internationally to discover their style personality, their body shape, their best colors, and I do online shopping for them, so they don't have to worry about any of that. But either way, whether you employ somebody to discover your style, or you spend some time getting to know yourself and getting to know your measurements as well, that's going to be really important if you're shopping online, or even just having a look at clothes on a hanger. So getting to know what clothes suit you is going to be really important going forward, so that you don't have waste at home in terms of clothes, and you don't have to go sending things back through the post and getting refunds. It's a very slow process. So that's what we can expect in the short term. But in the long term, there have been some dramatic changes, and we will see dramatic changes in the next number of years. And I'll talk a little bit about that now. One of the biggest developments and announcements in the fashion world in recent weeks was the announcement from Gucci that they will no longer be taking part in seasonal clothing shows. So they used to have 5 fashion shows per year, and now they will only be doing 2, and they will be aiming towards a seasonless catwalk. For one of the big fashion houses to make an announcement like this is huge, and it's not only they're not going to be out there doing this on their own. Other people are definitely going to follow. I mean, they don't really have a choice when all eyes are on sustainability, and a big fashion house like Gucci makes that announcement. Everybody else is going to be watching to see if all the other fashion houses do the same. So what does this mean for you and I? Well, there's going to be a lot less waste in the fashion industry if more of the fashion producers go down this route. So the way the fashion industry worked before is that they would be constantly making new clothes and hoping that they would sell. And there's going to be a shift now for on-demand fashion. So fashion will only be made when the customer requests it. It's not going to be pushed on them and they're going to be told this is what you're going to be buying this year. So all eyes are going to be on the consumer and what they want. I'm all for this because it means a move towards individuality rather than mass production and everybody dressing the same way. So getting to know your style personality has never been more important. There's a lot of people out there who are like, I don't know my style personality. They just buy into the trends that they see in the shop, they see on the models, they see influencers wearing, and they haven't taken the time to get to know what they actually like. I love that we're going to be seeing more individuality on the streets, and we're going to be, walking into a wedding or a party and someone is not going to be wearing the same dress as you. So that's good news. But on-demand fashion means that customers still want a product pretty quickly. We're used to having something ordered online and having it delivered within 48 hours, 24 hours sometimes. So that is going to change a little bit, because if an item is on-demand fashion, it often means that it hasn't even been made yet. So when you order something, someone is going to get to work and it's going to be sent to you still pretty quickly, but there might be a little bit of a time delay. The way to avoid this, and the way for the producers to avoid this, is to have the clothes made locally. So if I'm in the US and I want a dress made just for me, someone locally is going to be making that dress and sending it to me so that I can have my order within 48 hours. Now, this is good news and bad news, because as we know, a lot of the fashion produced comes from countries in Asia, and we all know that there hasn't been very fair treatment of people in the fashion industry, the garment workers in the likes of Bangladesh, for example, where we had the Rana Plaza disaster a number of years ago. So is there a responsibility for clothing brands to still employ people from Asia and keep them within the industry? Because if they don't, they will lose jobs. Or is it ethical to start producing locally? There's less carbon emissions because of the travel, warehousing, things like that. And the truth is, it's a very complex situation, but I think the future is going to be a little bit of a mix of both. We're going to see both available to us as consumers. So undoubtedly, the presence of COVID-19 has produced some challenges for the fashion industry, but it's also a time for brands to step up, make changes, and become more sustainable, because that is the only way the world is going to survive, is if we move towards sustainability. I definitely think there's going to be more transparency in the fashion industry as we go forward. I mean, there's a lot of campaigns for #WhoMadeMyClothes. There's too much information out there about the truth of what's going on in the fashion industry for the consumer not to be aware. And because of this transparency, brands have to take ownership, have to take responsibility for paying fair wages and employing people on fair contracts, and following through the contracts that may have been cancelled throughout COVID-19, and that has happened. They have asked for items to be produced, thousands of dollars worth of items, hundreds of thousands, and yet they haven't followed through with the payment. So they're not going to get away with that. All eyes are on them, and I think people are making better choices in terms of where they spend their money and how they vote with their money. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this subject. I know it's a little bit of a heavy subject, but it's definitely one that's important to me, and I hope it's important to many people as well going forward. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you like this video or learned something new, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.